And so my message this morning is about the power of the tongue. And I guess we all probably know stories of how persuasive words have changed the world. Think of those kind of iconic speeches that we know about, like Martin Luther King and his I Have a Dream speech. Somehow just painted this vision of a society that is just and fair and where no one is prejudiced against, and that speech kind of inspired a whole vision of faith, a desire to see a society that matched that dream. Think of Winston Churchill and some of his powerful speeches. I love to watch him and to see him kind of in action. And JFK once said of Winston Churchill that he mobilized the English language and sent it into battle. That was Winston Churchill's gift. He had this amazing way with words, and that speech that he spoke in the House of Commons, I think it was, where he said, we'll fight them on the beaches, we'll fight them here, we'll fight them there, we'll fight them everywhere. He even committed Mauritius to fight, because he said in the end, even if England falls, all of the outlying kind of districts, the rest of the empire, they'll rise up and fight against the Germans. So you didn't know it, but you were committed to fight in the Second World War by Winston Churchill in his famous speech. So obviously many examples in the Bible, but one that springs to mind is in Acts chapter 19. It's one of the major leading cities of the time in Asia. It's Ephesus. And during the period of one day, 2 speeches changed that city. One spurred it into a riot, and the other one sent everyone home in peace. The situation unfolds because the gospel is being preached. People are hearing the message about Jesus. And because people are hearing the message about Jesus, they are leaving their idols, the things that they used to worship, the sticks and the statues and the silver articles and things that they used to worship. They're leaving those to worship Jesus. And one of the silversmiths at the time, his name was Demetrius, he was very unhappy that his business was being affected by this message of Jesus. He gathers the craftsmen together and he says a speech. You guys know our livelihoods are going to be affected if this carries on like it is. And he stirred up a riot. Before long, the whole city was in riot. The mass crowds approached the amphitheater. They were shouting at the top of their voices, this crowd. And eventually, some Christian gets up and he's kind of the target of their opposition. And they start to shout, "Great is Artemis of the Ephesians," for 2 hours. One crowd inspired by one man's speech. And after all of that comes to an end, the town clerk gets up. And he just has this amazing, we don't even know who he was, what he believed, or kind of what it was that caused him to have this kind of effect on the crowd. But he quietened the crowd. He spoke to them rationally. He said, what on earth is going on here? The courts are open. If anyone has a complaint, they can take someone to court. There's no reason for us to be in riot. If someone had to accuse us of rioting, we'd have no defense for our actions here today. And he dismissed the crowd and sent them home. One man raises a whole city into riot. Another man brings peace and sends everyone home. It's the power of the tongue.